Thank you so much for joining today. Tarun, I want to ask you if you could tell us and tell everyone what the last 1 year has meant for Zydus Wellness.
I think last 14, 15 months and last 1 year, I'm taking a bit of liberty, extending a few more months, starting from March end, what really happened. I think though it's been quite a bit of challenge for us. Initially, we were quite, should I say, not fully prepared, or we thought we were not, and we were quite unhappy with the way things were shaping up. It was very challenging because I'll take you to the backdrop of what we were. So we had just integrated our Kraft Heinz business in 2019. I think a couple of years ahead of what we were wanting to do. So by end of December 19, we did a very fast execution of our integration. So when we started 2020 and January, I remember talking to the large team and I said, look, the world, the VUCA world with all those uncertainties and volatilities, you're going to deal with all those, but we have integrated, we have leaner, sharper, and a much larger organization. So we are going to do much better. And so we had set a fairly, aggressive task of building the business in a certain way. And when March came, it just took us by everyone by surprise. We were no exceptions. And I think the first initial phase was, let's put our head down and let's get over with it. It'll probably last few months. China's seems to be, overcoming it. It may take 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Protect your people, which was the first. Protect your business, P&Ls, etc. But also be responsible for the communities. There are like 25,000 farmers who give milk at our Aligarh plant. So you have to be responsible for, not just your internal employees, but ecosystem that depends upon you. You have to get over those 2-3 months through the ecosystem. And then there were essential products. So, there was one place where the local administration was wanting to shut down the plant. But we realized our products were essential. So it was more of crisis management, keeping your team aligned, managing those. I think after a couple of months, I think a lot of stability, a lot of dealing with the new normal had come through. I don't know what's new normal because there are different definitions that may exist. But the fact was you were more centered, you were more prepared for dealing with those things. But first, I think 3-4 weeks were very hard for everyone in something which none of us had seen or imagined. But I think subsequently we have dealt with it far better. Even when the second wave came, I think from a supply chain back end with our ecosystem, we were better prepared. It's just that, some things you cannot overcome. If there is a lockdown, there is a lockdown.
Yeah.
Cannot. But the government was better prepared. Government actually did quite a bit of things, their own learning, which helped us. But one thing that really when I started about this integration piece, I look back was that while we missed the big thing that I was hoping to do, if we had not done the integration at the pace we did and really became aggressive in reducing our cost structures, a lot of organizations after going through that hit went back and to the drawing board and said, I need to cut my cost structures, I need to do this. We were already better prepared, and that's why I think we came out stronger, especially after the first wave. We actually went ahead when people were thinking, how will they run the organization? We went about 55-60% increase in our direct distribution. We ramped up our e-commerce. So we were, I think, far better and more agile and ready to take on the challenges. And that's why I think it's a hard story, and it's also some sweet spot sitting there that it pushed us to the next level fairly quickly. And it also tested some of our things that we've done. So it's been an interesting journey. Painful because what we've seen around our near dear ones, our employees, people who've got affected, and some of them have lost their lives also, and it's very, very painful. But on the other side, it is also, this pandemic has also segregated if I were to say a cliche term, men from the boys, that if you're really up there, you're doing your stuff right, you can deal with disruptions. And I think it gave me a satisfaction that we could.
And as the CEO, as someone at the helm of the company, the brand, a question I would like to ask is that how do you maintain that brand equity? How do you continue to maintain that brand equity in India?
So I think let me ask this, answer this question in two different ways. So one is building the Zydus Wellness brand for prospective employees, various stakeholders, and how do we maintain uh, the organizational brand or organization so that all our stakeholders stay anchored and committed to it, and how do we maintain the brand equity of individual brands. I think one common theme, of course, will be authenticity. But I think what is part of Zydus Wellness DNA, and I think when I came about 6 years back and I recognized this, and that's why I kind of articulated it, goes in our some of the annual reports, is our DNA has been building emergent brands or participate in emergent categories, and with a do good brand. So everything we do, we try to be do good rather than just superficial. So you will find that even when I'm participating in skincare, and we will talk about experiential stuff, but whether you look at Everyuth scrub or a peel off, these are things that really work. When you look at Complan, it's actually higher quality of nutrition than most of our peers, and we can, so while the market competition will be fought on your execution, your propositions, and other things, but the underlying foundation has to be authenticity and some things that really work scientifically proven in what we are claiming. So each of our products, and we are really a pioneer for across all our portfolio practically, and leader in 5 out of 6 categories that we operate in. So we've been able to do that, and therefore, while they may look like niches and can become hopefully larger categories as time moves on, but one thing that we think we will stay consistent on is that deliver to consumers what we promise. And I think that something that flows through all our products, our execution, and at our overall organization also. And if we can do this, I think we will be able to keep our brand alive for a much longer, sustained period of time.
But I have a question over there. See, you
Yeah.
have this challenge because the brand is already so good, right? And as you said, and thanks for articulating it. It's the be good, do good brand, which it clearly is. But you are today a leader. You today the brand is loved, and what you're saying, that scientifically proven also. Now, in that place where you are, there is a chance of being complacent, right? And I want to understand, as a leader, how do you ensure that you are at the top of your game and you continue to be at the top of your game? Because the competition today in the world, and Arun, I'm asking this because we exist in the startup world. And today, if you look at in your segment also, there's so many emergent D2C brands coming in, right? There's so many things happening. How do you think about this?
So I think it's a very valid question, and it's a question I answer to myself and to my team every day. So I'll give you, like I mentioned to you, we're not just the pioneers; we are also being able to maintain leadership. Now, the responsibility of leader is not to sit on your market share and say, "Okay, I'm done. I'm comfortable. I make good money, and I keep the investors happy." The fact is that we have to be relevant to today's. The consumers are changing so fast every day. The fact that
Yeah.
D2C today is possible, and 10 years back, we would have laughed at somebody. What are you talking about D2C? In fact, e-commerce and FMCG 10 years, 15 years back, if you were doing this conversation, as I would have said, it looks a little tough. It looks a little unpractical, impractical. But today, it's not just practical. It is happening better, and it's
Yeah.
growing at a different pace. So consumers are changing. And you can't sit on your past laurels and say, look, I have a 94% share in sugar-free or a 60% share in Glucon-D or likes of it. The consumers are gonna, if you are not relevant to the consumers of tomorrow, you're gonna become irrelevant, or you're gonna
Yeah.
lose your space in the sun, and you're gonna lose your opportunity of building this brand to the next level. So I'll give you an example. So sugar free, when we were a 93% market share, and the point was that, look, everything is fine. You make reasonable money. The competition has not been successful against you. But we still said, look, the world is changing, and we need to embrace the naturalness, because there are still consumers who do not want this because they believe you're not safe or natural. Though I do not believe, because there is enough scientific evidence, but you're not fighting. We will address it. But more important thing was, how do you get a larger set of consumers? So you're not fighting for market share. You're saying, how do I increase the pie? How do I reach out to serve a much larger set of consumers who are unaddressed so far in the marketplace? So therefore, as a leader, I see that our role remains not just competing for market share, but growing the pie. Uh, and that, I think, is a one single-minded approach that I expect all my brand teams to work with. Of course, Complan, we are a little behind, and therefore I'm hoping the leader will also do that task. But I think largely as an organization, we are very focused on building the categories, getting new consumers, reaching out to underserved consumers.
My next question, in fact, in your latest annual report, you've acknowledged that as a larger number of people are ordering online, digital has become one of the preferred channels for brand communication. You know, how is it translating for you when you look at customer outreach, when you look at engaging with the new consumer today?
So that's an interesting part. I think consumers are also behaving very differently across different categories. So
Hmm.
some categories got embraced much faster. You would see, I mean, even 3 years, 4 years back, diapers was a large category, though we don't participate in it. Skincare was a little ahead of the block. Some other within segments within food got picked up much faster. The fact is that uh, the last 14, 15 months has given a kind of adrenaline rush to the e-commerce play, the digital play, because the offline world, the access got limited, and therefore there has been a disproportionate enhancement there. So the way we look at digital is uh, there are it's creating a multiple opportunities of engaging with the consumers, both in terms of how we influence the consumers so that they can understand us better, and not just just putting an ad out there, but also reaching out in certain ways. Today, gamification is coming back and becoming big. We can work on content. The other is in terms of access, in terms of purchase, and that has seen a disproportionate increase, more than 200% increase in terms of consumers buying from the e-commerce channel. The whole
Hmm.
channel is changing so much. The whole ways of consumer behaving is changing so much, and they are buying from different types of channels and different ways. So we are fully out there, ready to get there. So from engaging them, getting them early on, to fulfilling the needs and uh, selling on the digital platform, and we are also taking this whole digital journey to the back end also. So I really, if you ask me, I'm not seeing just from a consumer point of view. I'm saying how can I digitalize my whole organization, where end to end we could have a much sharper, much better, consumer service offered to the consumers.
Are you creating a separate team, or are you doing the reorientation of the whole company, or are you getting some agency, or are you doing all these three?
So I think our journey on digital really started about 4 5 years back. So that one time we did get a couple of specialists, one in sitting in marketing to do the digital marketing stuff, being there in various touch points, bloggers, YouTube, all the stuff.
Hmm.
On the other side, we realized when we had given the task of e-commerce to the modern trade team, because there is this kind of organized trade, they really didn't get it. So we really got a person who had worked in the e-com environment on the other side of the table, and we got him to come here and said, let's set it up. And we actually created a small startup inside, uh,
Hmm.
with a direct access to me and my sales leader, rather than just creating layers around it. So there was
Yeah.
a fair level of empowerment, and we said we don't have to measure it like on productivity levels, just the way I would measure a general trade guy, because this is a startup. This was few lakhs here and there. So how do I? So we really gave a very free open space, and we started building it bit by bit. I think over a period of time, there is a dedicated team which services, which meets these consumers. We have a joint business planning and all those things with the e-commerce team, but it does not happen just there. Even the back-end servicing, so even supply chain, commercial departments have also put spokes who work for these.
Yeah.
Similarly, on the marketing side, it's not just having a person who's a digital marketing, services guy, but the brand managers, category heads, they have to think. So if the whole organization has to think, but of course there are specialists to serve this. But I think it's been a journey for us, and now I think we are far ready for the future changes as they come.
Now, the question I have is that your international business has seen a growth of more than 200% during this financial year, and accounts for more than 3% of the consolidated revenue.
Yeah.
Tell us about this.
So, so this is again about 5, 6 years back, 6 years back when I joined, and we had a little bit of exports, which somebody was doing more entrepreneur. One of the things I felt was that in the categories we were operating at that time, we had not acquired Kraft Heinz, and we just had sugar-free Nutrilite and Everyuth. One of the things that I said was that we are strong category players in this. We have our knowledge in these categories were comparable to global knowledge. You could look at sugar substitutes which were available in US and European markets. We understood those categories reasonably well, whether it went through the health platform where it was a prescription for a diabetics, or it was low calorie and way to a better healthier lifestyle. So we understood the lifestyle as well as this part reasonably well. Similarly, in Nutrilite, in butter substitutes or Everyuth in facial cleansing. So we said, look, my knowledge and my cost structures allow me to have a global play. Now, at least some of the markets do offer us an opportunity to grow. And then you also look at the environment. Most of the Indian consumer businesses have anything between 15 to 55% businesses coming from outside India. And some of the markets were absolutely fitting in to take our products abroad. So we said, why don't we plan for this and start doing it organically? And have a plan to, so it started with hiring somebody based out of Dubai and not in India, so that you're not bound by what I think, but you look at the market and operate from the marketplace. So it was one person who understood this whole lay of the land, got him on board. Now we have a whole team which is building up, and we've been able to also integrate, Complan in different markets was different play by Kraft Heinz, and there were no one business unit. They didn't even look like each other. So we've been able to integrate all of that. We've been able to grow sugar-free and sugar-free beyond sugar substitutes into chocolates. When we launched the sugar-free green, which is our stevia version, actually SKUs were launched for international markets, which India took later because those markets were a little ahead of us. So clearly, we're saying that I'm ready to innovate what is required for those markets, build on basic understanding and a strong globally competitive cost structure that my plants have. And I could use them to build a business. So while 3% may look small given what we are comparing, but the fact is that we started from zero and it's all organic. And I'm following a reasonably profitable model where we're not saying it is a free for all, just go and invest. So we're building business responsible way, and we're taking right steps to build it. Of course, at some point in time, if there was some acquisition, we'll add it on. But right now, I think we have a journey where my wish list is organically we can take it to 8 to 10%, which will both create a strong brands in some of these key markets, as well as innovations to build these brands and be a valuable contributor to our business. And I mean, today when we get Ministry of Food Processing saying that we want to support Indian brands going up abroad and Atmanirbhar Bharat, I think we're right there to chasing some of those dreams.
Wow, but this is very, very, this is very Atmanirbhar. This is brands of India, because the question is that where are the Indian brands globally? And you write in a space where we don't see Indian brands. So this is big. Which countries are you present in right now?
So our major focus has been Middle East Africa, though we are also present in Southeast Asia and New Zealand as well. But I'm also counting on the South Asia, which is the Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, of course, which we ourselves extend to. So Middle East Africa, South Asia, Southeast Asia. So that's what.
Yeah. How do you look at the overall stakeholders in your ecosystem, and especially in the wake of pandemic? Have things changed, be it the distribution, supply chain, way of running the company? And there's so many stakeholders. And as you said, that it's not just the plants and the factories that you operate in, it's the ecosystem around that also. Has anything changed for you in the way you're looking at your stakeholders?
So yes and no. So at a fundamental level, the strategies remain consistent, and I hope they should. what it creates is probably new paths or new levers to run harder, faster, some of those things. Also, it opens up probably new opportunities for us. Now, first, if I were to look at a set of stakeholders for our entire value chain through the pandemic, I think while I'm very focused on building a consumer-centric organization, being a consumer products company, I think one learning that I've got over the last few months is you can deliver to the consumers if you first take care of it. People
Yeah.
are the most, crucial link in your whole organization. So I think the people first part in for a consumer centric for any organization, because you're not the organization, it's the people who build this whole thing. So the welfare of people has become much higher. It's always been, I always thought I was a good people manager, but I think it just made me relook at, are we doing enough for our people? Are we
Mm.
taking care of them? And, that's first thing that I would say that we have changed, or I have personally driven or personally changed, and also pushed my team to look at this with a very different lens of saying, are we doing enough for the people, for the safety of the people, for the welfare of the people, and don't stop at people, but their families.
Mm.
Because my salesman sitting in Gorakhpur is not just him, but he earns for his family. So just be conscious of that. So we've done, that's one stakeholder I think we've focused our attention. Secondly, I think is the communities which depend upon us. When the pandemic came and the whole thing was disrupted, one of things that came to us was, look, and I'll give you two examples, which was very, very important, and we took calls on that. There are 25,000 farmers who are providing milk every day morning.
Mm.
Now, the point was, stop everything. The business is not, you're not selling, nothing is happening. But, you have a faith, you believe humanity will prevail, you will finally see the light of the day. Because end of March, you didn't know which way it'll end. But we
Yeah.
said, okay, things will happen, come back to normal. So keep buying the milk. You may not need for today, but you can obviously convert it into the intermediate products and save it for the future. So we continued our milk sourcing there. 25,000 farmers whose livelihoods mattered. Several dairies in that area shut down for that period of time. We continued, and we said we'll just put SOPs for the safety of everyone, our team who was acting there, the farmers who were going there, but we continued. And I think I'm fairly proud of it, because it just looks like business is normal, but looking back, it matters. Second example that I would give on these communities part will be our vendors, our people who help us put things together. For example, our C&F partners, there are 23 of them across the country. So, I actually didn't even just, normally I don't need to interact. Once in a while if I'm traveling, I meet them. I know their profiles, but I actually asked that I wanted to meet all of them on a Zoom call, and reached out to them that we need to get the business up and running. Please tell us what are your challenges. And I engaged directly with them. And I didn't leave it only to my supply chain to work, but I said they should hear directly from me. So that reach out, but it didn't stop there. We have also in last few months ensured that each of the people, I think there are 200, 300 people, we extended certain insurance covers for them through
Well.
people who are
Mm.
dedicated. So we said, look, it's not just about taking care of our people, where we did what we had to do in terms of financials or any other things that we did. But I'm saying we had to go that extra mile, whether our salesmen who were out there working in the field in this difficult situation. So they were not our salesmen, they're not our employees, they are distributor salesmen, providing whatever financial assistance, hardship allowance. Similarly, our CNS. So the extended arms of our partners who actually whose livelihoods depend upon us,
Yeah.
that became an extremely crucial thing for us. And I think that I think we've been become fairly conscious of that piece. The third piece is is about some of our, like I mentioned, essential products. Some of our products are essential. So business is important, but your purpose becomes that much more important when you realize that your products matter to the consumer. So people were sitting at home and they needed more, sugar free. Our sales improved at that point of time. So they said they needed more sugar free. They were taking more tea and biscuits. So we said, look, if consumers want a healthier lifestyle, they're not able to exercise. Can I provide my products and service those needs well? So ensuring that my plants run, I'm able to service those. So third was about how we treat our products with more importance from a part of you know providing these products to the consumers when they need it. So those were some of the views. Of course, employees, partners, I mean, those were some of the things that we really impacted. But if I were to go one extra mile, in those extreme summer last year, we realized there were all these health workers and policemen in the
Uh,
outside in the sun, telling people not to come or helping them. So we
yeah.
actually said, look, my Glucon D is, a solution for consumers who are, out there in the sun. But these are the people who don't have all the resources. Actually, my team, which who interacted with them, said, we have had several views on, all these cops who are seen as tough guys who are not very supportive. Suddenly, the respect for them shot up, and you can see all that stuff going on social media.
Yeah.
So we said, why don't we reach out to them? I don't want anything in return. Uh, we didn't really make out anything out of it, out of anything. We said, let's give a certain amount of packets or a certain thing for each of our team members to go and give it to them. What it did was we reached out. They were very happy. It also energized my team who felt the importance of giving. So it
Yeah.
was not Zydus Wellness that was giving. They felt that on behalf of Zydus Wellness, they were empowered to give to people who were making a difference at that point in time. So those few things with communities, social impact that you could do, I think those were clearly very exciting times on learning on you could do good and feel good about it.
Tarun, I want to ask you, have you seen anything change in you as a leader because of the journey that you have made in the last 14, 15 months?
I've become more conscious of the purpose of the what we're trying to build. If I were to say, the fact that if I look at it, and I think I tried to articulate about 2 3 years back. There was an internal workshop, and I was trying to articulate. But if I were to say, and each of these examples I gave you, each of the things we talk about, I think I have, and you could wake me up at 2 o'clock in the night, and I would say I'm very excited about what we're creating for the future for the organization. The whole digital journey. I can tell about the digital investments in the front end or digital investments at the back end to make to make the whole organization better and sharper. But even more impactful or more valuable for me has been that the happiness I can create for our consumers by giving them products that they love. The fact that you can contribute to livelihoods of thousands of you know people who depend upon us through our
Yeah.
partners. The fact that employees, hundreds of employees, look forward to work for us. Uh, you know, and probably we've also used this time to also innovate aggressively. So innovation and execution, we have demonstrated some very agile executions also. So innovation and execution that we do, which probably our competitors will also respect. So I'm thinking about an organization that we are probably hopefully building, which will impact the whole ecosystem, all our stakeholders in a more purposeful way. I think that's really what's really keeping me energized, which is something I'm become far more conscious of today, rather than just saying that I have a business to run, but it is a business to build. It is an organization to build. It's a culture which we want to foster.
Are you engaging with startups as a company, as a brand?
So there are two or three different ways of engaging with startups. First of all, a lot of reasonable size companies are saying that can we become a place to go to for investments on startup. That I don't think we are ready for, or we will evaluate case to case, but we don't have a venture fund for, so we are not
Mm.
doing. but how we are engaging with startups. And I think I just had a chat with one of those guys who's just 3-4 years and doing some very interesting supply chain solutions.
Hmm.
So I met the founder over a similar call, and we were talking about he's anyway has shared his team has reached out to my team for possible solutions for our requirements. So we are engaging with startups, especially because some of them are coming with some new unique solutions which were not earlier available, and we are very, very happy doing that. We're also engaging with startups in several of our digital initiatives. Uh, so yes, but do I have a structured startup reach out? I don't. Uh, but yes, we are engaging in different parts in different ways, and I'm fully aware of each of those engagements that are happening. Some of which, like this one I mentioned in the supply chain piece, which certainly will happen sooner or later. But there is, I think, it'll become a part of way of doing things, because startups are changing a lot of things in the environment,
Yeah, yeah,
and there is no shying away for it. But one thing I have done is we're trying to also imbibe the startup culture in some of the pieces that we build. I gave you the
hmm.
example of when we built the e-commerce. So we tried to create a kind of walls around that piece for a few people, so that they could really not work through a certain bureaucracy is the wrong word, but still an organizational way of doing. How do I move at a very certain, at a faster pace, learn at a faster pace that a startup can do, and my whole organization will not do. So creating those oases in a desert, or islands of uh, startup culture within the organization, which I believe will help the organization become
Yeah.
far ready for the future, because startups are a great way of doing some of those things, breaking the molds.
Is there anything in life other than work which you enjoy? Because I see you clearly enjoy your work because it brings a lot of purpose and you are doing very phenomenally well. Uh, Are there more things to life than work? And what are those things?
I have two young kids, and they bring a lot of joy beyond work for me. So obviously, I think the biggest thing I look forward to beyond my work is obviously my family. I think reaching out to my kids uh, makes a big difference. Spending time with them, learning with them. Quite often they wait for to play something new that they've bought. So open up those things. So doing that together, I
Yeah.
think that certainly is something that makes a big difference. Of course, few other hobbies, but I think that's what I have limited time for, given the stretch. But yeah, a little bit of reading and stuff that happens.
And last is that as a CEO of Zydus Wellness, what you feel every day is the most exciting thing. And then you could say that, hey, I can keep on doing this.
I think I'll go back to something I mentioned earlier. I think the excitement of creating the organization,
Mm.
impacting millions of lives, uh, and looking at the future and saying that we did this. I think those things really, get me excited. Look forward to coming to office. Look forward to doing things. Look forward to. I think that's a and the huge excitement at the workplace where people are doing, I think, some very interesting stuff. So, and being able to work with them, participate with them. So we have a fairly positively charged team, and to work with them, to those things make me look forward to coming to office every day, look forward to working every day. And I think I can go on and on on this.
You know what, Tarun, I have to tell you this, that a leader is a reflection of the company, and we get, everyone watching today will get a sense of what you're building, what why you're enjoying, because there is a sense of extreme authenticity, there is joy, there is purpose, and of course there is a super brand, the company that you run and are going international. Thank you. It was a very, very uh, interesting, inspiring, and a conversation where we all learned. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks for having me, and my privilege to be on this.